All right, Kelly, I'm ready whenever you are. Yep. All right, I think we're live. Kelly, are we hitting the 30-second countdown? All right. All right. My name is Matt Solomon. I'm co-founder of the channel program, and with me I've got Ian Alexander, also a co-founder and channel chief at Syncro. Welcome, Ian.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so this has been a project we've been working on and partnered with Syncro on this, and we're finally excited to be able to reveal it. It's the 2023 MSP Technology Map. I think a lot of people have seen some of these larger channel maps that have been out there, but there's really never been one that's been dedicated to the MSP space. And I think MSPs, vendors, really anybody who's in the channel is going to find interest in this, find some value in it, and it really is. It's unique. It's one of a kind, and we certainly wanted to thank Syncro for being a partner in this. And kind of before we jump in, and we're welcome any questions, comments as we're doing the live stream. But Ian, if you could give people a little bit of information about Syncro before we dive in and preview the actual map.
Yeah, sure. I'll try to make it short. So Syncro is a combined PSA and RMM solution. We make that specifically for MSPs. So basically helps you run your entire MSP business. Some of the maybe differentiating factors are it's truly one unified PSA and RMM. And the pricing is per user. So if you have 5 employees at your MSP, you're going to pay for 5 licenses, transparent flat rate pricing, and no contracts or anything that you have to sign. So very easy to do business with, and we're constantly improving the platform.
Excellent. Yeah. So why we're here today, we created this 2023 MSP technology map, and part of Channel Program's commitment is to provide really valuable insights into the MSP community. We're an open ecosystem, really led by MSP feedback, and everything in this map is really part of that. In terms of how this map got developed, and I'm actually going to go ahead, Ian, and I'm going to put it up here on the screen so people can actually know what we're even talking about. So I'll kind of go over some high-level things about how we developed this map in the first place. The foundation of the project is more than 3,500 reviews written by MSPs and verified by Channel Program. So part of our platform, Ian, is we want MSPs to be able to give direct feedback to their peers, where they actually have to put their name on it, so not like a Reddit. So they have to put some credibility into that review. And the reviews are really the basis of the products and how they're categorized into this map. And there's actually, Ian, over 700 logos that are represented in this showcase right here, including 600 different companies represented. So there's certain companies that have multiple logos, and they're all going to be represented in here. And it's all categorized based on, excuse me, of course, somebody just knocked at my door and my dog is barking now. But it's all categorized based on the categories that the vendors have different services in. So I'm going to scroll in here and kind of show some of the different charts. But while I'm doing this, it'd be great to get your thoughts on how this brings value to an MSP. And I know we have both audience here, and we'll talk from both perspectives. But for MSPs, how do you see them getting value and how they can utilize a map like this?
Yeah, for sure. I think that MSPs are always looking for, hey, what is in my tool stack, and am I using the right tools? And it can be hard to navigate. I mean, look at the cybersecurity category. Look how many logos are in there, right? So if you are shopping for a tool or you just want to check up on your stack, I think this map can be really helpful for you to just say like, hey, do I know all the players in this category? who do I want to check out? Obviously, you can then go Google, you can go use Reddit and whatever, talk to other MSPs. That doesn't prevent you from doing that, but it might give you a head start and just give you kind of a starting list. So I think that's really great for the MSP. Oh, I think you're muted.
I rarely mute myself on these, but my dog just going nuts. Yeah, we see it all the time. MSPs, saying, who do you use for, security awareness training? Who do you use for dark web monitoring? Who do you use for RMM, PSA? And, this is a way for them to kind of just get a much quicker view of it. In addition to this, in our platform, like I said, we have all the different product reviews, so you can really start diving in. I think what this addresses is MSPs like to do research ahead of time, and they want to maybe narrow it down to 3 potential vendors that they were going to have a conversation with, right? So I think it really taps into that. I should mention everybody is seeing a download kind of scroll. It is a free resource to download. You get the full high-res version, and I'll talk about how big this chart actually is. But you can go to channelprogram.com/technology map. Again, that's available to anybody who wants to download it and really get the full perspective on it. Ian, what about from the vendor perspective? I mean, you all are one of the vendors on here in one of the more prestigious categories or highlighted categories because of just the broadness of IT management and professional services. I guess, what does this map mean to you as a vendor?
Well, I'll say, first of all, my job is as channel chief to go develop these relationships with other vendors in the space. So this makes my job a lot easier. So I'm excited about being able to look at all the different categories and say, hey, I have a relationship with these folks and these folks, but not these. There's a bunch on here I've never heard of. So that's really great. So it gives me a little bit of a map to go and start reaching out to folks and develop new relationships and just make sure I'm always staying up to date on who's in the space.
Yeah, and I think a lot of, especially for like an emerging vendor, particularly, I can go back and I always say this, put my ID agent hat back on. But, in those early days, we were looking for other vendors who were non-competitive and maybe, complementary to do joint webinars with and expand our user base. And so this is a great opportunity. Talk about doing your homework for you. It's just, here's all the people you could potentially do a webinar with or an in-person lunch and learn. Any of that, it's literally sitting here. And we kind of joked backstage, Ian, like there's a group here called, and this is to your point, I've never heard of Secret Double Octopus, which is under authentication. I can't speak to anything about them, but I joked with you. I was like, oh well, you guys have an octopus as your mascot, so maybe there's something there,
Yeah, no, I hadn't heard of them, so I went and looked at their website. I'm probably gonna go reach out. Could do some cool octopus marketing together.
Yeah. So again, for any of you just joining us, this is really the first of its kind, the 2023 MSP Technology Map. As I mentioned, 700 plus logos on here, 600 companies represented. It is all based off of the different product reviews that have been in the platform from the MSP industry themselves. I would be remiss. I know Kelly backstage would get mad at me if I didn't tell you how big this map is. If you printed it in full size, it's 8 by 12. It's more than 96 square feet. So if you're a hardcore channel person and you want to download it and print it out, I mean, kudos to you. And I mean, you could just take Ian, like with your job, right?
Like
channel chief, you could just, you could just take a marker and start like, all right, I've reached out to them. Makes your job a little easier.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. So the largest category was cybersecurity with 157 logos. I'll kind of just show that here. So not a big surprise there. I mean, obviously a pretty vocal point in the MSP community these days.
Yep.
And then the second largest category, which Syncro is a part of, is under IT management. And obviously, these break down into subcategories. So if you're on channelprogram.com, you can go into the different subcategories and start looking at very specific categories. But yeah, just unbelievable amount of different vendors represented here. And here's what I would tell you: if you're a vendor watching this right now and your logo does not appear on this map, you have every right to be pissed. I would be too. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to explain this. This is MSPs giving reviews of products they use. So either not enough MSPs are using your product, or you haven't built out a free profile on channelprogram.com. And we've got well over 600 MSPs or vendors on here. So definitely reach out. I think Kelly, if you put well, we have the scroll, the technology map. If you use that, if you go to that download page as a vendor and you're not on the map and want to see yourself represented there, you can also fill out a form. Or you can go to channelprogram.com and do the free vendor profile and make sure that you're on the map moving forward. So definitely opportunities. Again, it's completely open ecosystem. So if you're not on there, it's because an MSP hasn't done a product review of you, most likely, or you don't have a free profile. So make sure you do that. I know we got a couple. I know we're on a couple different different areas doing a live stream here, and I know we got one audience question, and I think I'll probably have to answer it, Ian, which is how long did this take? It took a long time. It's not easy to bring all this data into a place. It took, as far as like really putting the map together, it took almost 60 hours of work. But in addition to that, another 30 or 40 of planning, meetings, tech reviews. Obviously, we had some meetings with Syncro as well. And again, want to continue to thank them for their partnership on this. So yeah, lots of man hours. I'm going to give a huge shout out to Nick on our team, who's vastly responsible for most of this this effort, and obviously Kelly on the marketing side is doing a lot to spread the word, and the team at Syncro on spreading the word of the partnership that we did on this. But yeah, Nick just spent, as I said, probably 60 hours putting this map together himself. So kudos to Nick. Hopefully he's listening and hearing the shout out. But again, available to everybody. You can go onto the website, download it for free. It really is. It really is for both sides of the industry. If you're a consultant, a vendor, an MSP, it makes sense for everyone. I think again we go back to the MSP value proposition on why you would want this. It's just making your life easier, figuring out what vendors or are there available in different categories. And I'm just making sure I'm hitting all my notes here, Ian. Let's see. There's one other question that came in as well. Which category, and I guess you can answer this if there was a specific category, and was there a category that you were most surprised with, based on the map, or the least surprised? Most surprised with either had more than you expected or less than you expected, I should say.
Well, I will say, like, when the first draft came through, I was both surprised and not surprised about the cybersecurity section and just how big it was. It made me say, like, well, should we break this out into more categories? Right. Like, but I don't know. I mean, it is true that these are all cybersecurity things. So it's kind of, I was not surprised that there were so many, but just seeing the number of logos, it was, wow, it's a hard thing to navigate.
Yeah. And I think to your point, the cybersecurity has become the most blurred area for MSPs to know the difference between the different vendors. And I think so it's definitely probably the most important category to differentiate yourself. And yeah, quite candidly, I mean, probably one that could require a version of its own. And
yeah,
maybe that is the one that we end up breaking out at some point as its own, because it's so prevalent right now and there's so much competition. I'll tell you, the one I was pretty surprised with was finance, to be honest, because and I'll mention something. We have something called Navistack. It's really the first visualization tool for MSPs to visualize their stack. And in addition to the reviews, we've been seeing MSPs adding all of these financial vendors to the platform, and most of them you don't really see at channel events. So it was really interesting. I'm surprised by how many different finance logos that we're seeing there, and maybe as far as another surprise on how little is education. I'm surprised there's not more under education now. It could be how certain vendors categorize themselves and whatnot, but yeah, those two I think are my biggest surprises from both large scale and small scale. And yeah,
it seems like the education ones, a lot of them are like peer groups and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just briefly, because I did mention it on the Navistack view, I just wanted to show everybody what that actually looks like. So it's a visualization tool, and I think Kelly can put up the website. that's a free tool for MSPs. They can actually customize their stack. So it's the first time an MSP has been able to visualize their stack, and you can build out whatever categories are in your stack currently. And it really is the first time that you've ever been able to do vendor management. It's a vendor management platform for MSPs. Again, free to MSPs. You'd be able to start communicating with your vendors in a single place. You'd be able to start getting resources, and it starts customizing it for you. So it just makes it easier. So if you're engaged with Syncro, it makes it easier to communicate with them, get their resources, and find out what events they've got going on. It really starts to customize it with custom widgets. So that's just a quick plug for Navistack because it is available today. But kind of going back to this map, we've been having that scroll for the download going here this whole time. This is the download page. It's super simple. I mean, it's an email address and the company type. That's the only ask that you're required to get the full res version of it. We kind of go into a little bit of breakdown about it. And as I mentioned, how do I get my company featured on the map? You can click here and let us know if you're missing from the map. Ian, anything that I've missed on your side, or anything, any parting words that you would like to go to the audience with?
No, I'm excited this is out now, and excited for folks to take advantage of it and find the tool that's going to work best for the business.
Yeah, and by the way, when I was showing the Navistack, was it only showing the chart still?
It had a banner for the Navistack URL, but no, it didn't.
Oh, it didn't show. It didn't. Okay. Yeah, it just occurred to me. I was talking through that, and I was like, okay, no one's actually seeing what I'm talking about. So, I'm going to show that real quick before we leave, and then we'll do one last thing here. All right. So sorry about that, folks, but here's the view for Navistack. What I was talking about. Again, that visualization tool. So you're able to visualize your stack, add, customize it, and as I mentioned, if you were using Syncro, be able to communicate easier with them through this, get their materials, and all other vendors as well. So just a simplified vendor management platform for MSPs, and that is no additional cost. But we're here about the technology map ultimately, so definitely go check it out, download it. As I've said 3 times now, it's applicable for MSPs, it's applicable for vendors, it's applicable to consultants, it's applicable to anybody that has a interest in the channel. If you're getting into the channel, I mean, when you say from that perspective, if you're an emerging vendor and you're considering coming maybe from enterprise down to channel, I mean, that would be a good way to kind of see what the competition's like as well.
100%.
Yeah. All right. So I think that we've covered everything today. And if you have any questions about the map, you can always reach out to us, but go ahead and download it. And again, if you're a vendor and you want to be on the map and weren't on it, reach out and we'll get you set up. Thank you for your time, Ian. And again, thank you to Syncro for their partnership on this. And again, thank you to everybody backstage and back home that worked on this project. And yeah, we're excited to have the whole industry checking this out.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you.